Okay, hi everyone. So we're going to discuss about this is third session that we are going to discuss about the discrimination thing regarding employment. So today we're going to start with the sexual preferences regarding how in organization, how they're going to be actually discriminate on the ground of sexual preference. So you can see discrimination against the people on grounds of their sexual preference is illegal in some countries. So we can see sometimes organization like sometimes they in some they are advertising, sometimes they are selection tests because this is because law have been passed to protect their right in some countries, right? For example, like USA, like the developed countries, they have been passed this legislation to protect these rights. But for example, in South Africa, in 1998, laws were passed to protect the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual, and intersex. This is called the word stand for LGBTI, right? So you can see this is in our textbooks. It says so. I stand for those things. Lesbians, L. G stand for gay. B stand for bisexual, and T stand for transsexual, and T stand for intersex. These are the things that this thing actually means some countries they accept these things, but some countries still not accepted these things. So, like citizens from employment discrimination, however, it must be remembered that in many countries, the laws may be different. For example, homosexuality is a criminal offense in 38 out of 55 American states, African states. African states, we talk about Africa. So, but some countries, like the USA, they have anyway they have started this LGBT. They given the permission for these things. Uh, Most of the countries in the world actually they haven't actually they are in the still anti LGBT. They have some kind of a still their ethnic things, their culture, their norms, their traditions, their that value system is still there in law and everything. So therefore, a lot of countries they haven't given the permission to openly practice this sexual preference thing. But in the modern world, especially developed countries, especially European countries and America, these LGBT practices are normally they thinking it's a normal thing. It's their choice of humans, their preference. You cannot actually influence. You cannot. No one, even businessman, business world, no one cannot actually interfere there. It's a personal choice. So most of cases of sexual preference discrimination result from harassment or bullying, harassment and bullying. So, however, business must take care of avoid sexual preferences, discrimination in recruitment, uh, pay, terms and conditions of employment, promotion and training opportunities and dismissal. These things must be. That's how you have to know these things, right? You should know that by being a lesbian or gay, that is their personal choice. It doesn't matter that if they can perform their duties properly. It's okay. We should give them some chance to, because they are normal people like you and me. So organizations must give them some fair chances for them to actually work. They should not bully. They should not give any harassment. Anything must be because they are like we should give equal conditions for them, even though they are different or sometimes they are normal or different or whatever thing. That's their human nature. However, business must take those things to avoid those things, sexual preference, on discrimination, and recruitment. In recruitment, you can't ask those things. Sometimes even asking your marital status is sometimes a kind of offense because asking a marital status, are you married or are you single? Those things are very personal things sometimes, but some job opportunities that is sometimes mandatory to ask those things. For example, like the air hostess or something. Sometimes if you are they're asking to actually be normal, they're giving preference for single, like and that mean not married, like individuals for those jobs because of they're always traveling and their job is more convenient if they have a single life. So and also promotion opportunities, training opportunities, and dismissal things. Do not take this as a serious thing. That's what they mean, the sexual preference thing. So should ignore that. This one in organization should give them the chance for the talent and not for their sexual preference. That's the thing. Okay. We're talking about another thing in the beginning of the chapter. We talk about this a case study regarding the age. Age is a, you can see some people say age is just a number. Age is just a number. But organizations sometimes they're thinking age is very, very, very important thing for nowadays because like recruitment, normally a lot of organizations want to recruit young people like in their 20s, 30s. Like age is really the important thing, because until if you can work like a healthy age, every organization wants healthy people, healthy work, the staff to to perform better. Because when people get older, like 66 and 70s, then what happens? Then their physical fitness level also going down, and more towards they are not very attractive that much, and as a result, you can see sometimes customer we can talk about sales people, and then we talk about the secretary jobs and receptionist jobs and some like a waiter jobs. So most of the if you're working with the people, so most of the organization they wanted to involve some young legs in the organization, because to to give a good support for their good service to their customers. So example, Vidya, we talk about this case study about the age discrimination in on Australia, Brisbane, the person who was actually working like a as a Thai restaurant, how they actually considered that person was no more need, no longer required their service. But you can see the workplace of the business decision is made on grounds of a person's age. For example, a person age 32 is given promotion because another person age 66 was considered too old, even though 66-year-old was equally qualified and more experienced, right? Sometimes because of the age. There's a 32-year-old one and 66-year-old one, like this person's father. So then always what happened, son got the promotion, but not the father. So sometimes that's fair. So because both of them, sometimes this person is more experienced and sometimes equally qualified or more qualified. Because of the age limit experienced in many countries, unemployment rate of over 50 is higher than the average. Also, older workers are more likely to take up part-time work and receive less training as a result of that. So over 50 is higher than average. So older workers are more likely to take up part-time and work and receive less training as a result. So 66 plus means sometimes a lot of organizations they are not giving full-time jobs, they are giving part-time jobs sometimes. It's more convenient for them also, because working like 4 hours than 8 hours sometimes more convenient for them. But most of the time, part-time jobs not get paid that much like full-time. In many countries, do not have a specific age discrimination legislation, but protection is still provided under the laws that make discrimination of all types of illegal. For example, a New Zealand Human Rights Act of 1993 has been updated to provide protection against the discrimination. Example of the possible effects of the business, such as legislations are given below. You can see this legislation regarding age discrimination. You can see it would be illegal to not offer a job to someone on the ground of age. And another thing you can see, the business should take measures to prevent older workers from being harassed in the workplace, right? So business should take measures to do that thing, and also business cannot refuse promotion or training on the grounds of age. They cannot refuse promotion of training on the grounds of age. And in interviews, assumptions cannot be made about the ages of candidates or their suitability for a job on the grounds of age. And this is regarding interview. Interviews you cannot actually you can ask about their birthday and you can guess how much they old, right? And then, but normally in interviews, assumptions cannot be made about the ages of candidate or their suitability of a job on the grounds of age. And a business cannot state that a specific number of years experience is needed to apply for a job. This might disadvantage for young applicants. Yeah, sometimes they're asking, okay, we need 5 year experience, 10 years experience, like sometimes unfair for younger applications. Like young applicants who actually have qualification but not have enough, enough experience to apply for that job. So that is sometimes, sometimes they call this is called silver hair syndrome. Silver hair syndrome is always sometimes organization want to apply. They want to give some chances. For example, like a positions like CEO or a senior management level, they wanted to give some opportunities for something like senior people who actually like in their 50s or sometimes in their early or late 40s sometimes with the silver hair. Like silver hair is like it means they like start their the fourth decade of their life or fifth decade of their life. They mean they are matured enough to get that opportunity. But what happened to the young people who are in their 30s, in their late 30s, like 30, 35, 36, 38 sometimes? So they don't have a silver hair, but still they young, looks young, but still they don't have enough experience. As a result, sometimes they are not giving the opportunities to become the chairman of the company or become the CEO of the company because they still judge that this person is not have enough experience to run the organization. Therefore, they're always giving opportunities for when, senior people to actually run that organization. So this is a thing. Sometimes the business cannot state specific numbers of years as a result of this, but they do usually. A lot of countries they don't have such a legislation to prevent this. Finally, it is the interest of the business to follow the laws designed to prevent the discrimination in the workplace. If they fail to do so, this is the thing, what happened? It can be a age discrimination, it can be gender discrimination, it can be a discrimination against the grounds of religion, race, sexual preference, age, whatever it is. These are the main repercussions, impacts of that. They have to be involved in expensive legal battles and they have to fail to recruit or promote the best staff for the post. And third one, they demotivate certain sections of the workforce. It always creates unnecessary tension or conflict between employees. So what you have to know, should know when you're writing evaluation points or however points, the impacts of the labor discrimination, there is no advantages. There is no any advantages of what is the advantage of bullying a person, what is the advantage of discriminating a person. These are the disadvantages. You should know impacts, asking analyze the impacts, analyze the drawbacks, so analyze the possible impact for an organization by discriminating workers. This is the answer. These are the points. Right? So what are the points? You have to be involved in the expensive legal battles with the workers. You see, last two cases we discussed, the Starbucks employee and the Brisbane Thai restaurant, that the waiter, that job, both of the cases, they went to the legal proceedings and it became expensive at the end. They had to pay like a thousands and thousand millions of US dollars they have spent for those things, legal charges. And not only then, it failed to recruit to promote the best staff. Sometimes those people are the best people, but because of your sometimes organizations bad decision, right? That person you actually lose the person to get that best. That's you are not working for the best interest of the organization. As a result, you fail to recruit and promote the best staff for the post. And third one, you can see demotivated certain sections of the workforce, like organizations sometimes certain sections of the workforce they demotivate. Sometimes it will be ladies. If you're a gender preference person, let's say we're giving more salaries for the male candidate, then always automatically ladies will be they're gonna discriminate. They will be like demotivated as a result of that. And sometimes the ageism, like age discrimination, sometimes the mature people like after 50s, 60s employees in your organization will be demotivated. And also finally create unnecessary tension or conflict between employees. Between employees, there will be like conflicts and tensions will be very unnecessary and bad for your reputation as well. Okay, let's move on to the minimum wage case. Now, those are the discrimination grounds. And there's another thing called the minimum wage legislation. We can see like minimum wage legislations is normally minimum wage is what? Minimum wage. Like that depend on country to country. The minimum wage you can sometimes be called living wage, like a minimum amount per hour, which most workers are entitled to be paid to, which most workers are entitled to be paid for. Generally, you can see this minimum wage is sometimes they have a organization, sometimes government their legislation they're saying, okay, this much of amount minimum wage must be paid for this post, but most of the time workers are some especially developing countries there is nothing like that minimum wage. That's why some countries like China, Vietnam, Philippines, Malaysia, Thailand. So most of the countries, especially African countries, Bangladesh, and also the Somalia, Ethiopia, Kenya. So these countries they don't have a kind of a minimum wage thing. So therefore they exploit labor and get the full effort from them, but they are giving in return very low amount of income. Only they get paid. So minimum wage means this is involved passing legislation that means no employer is allowed to pay their workers an hourly rate below this limit. If they set limit, for example, $15 per hour. If you work in USA, if you work in Australia, you can see the normal rate like $15, like $20 per hour. hourly rate, but usually minimum rate sometimes they should, because some countries they get paid like a monthly, sometimes and weekly, sometimes daily basis. So hourly rate is really important to specify, but minority of workers might be excluded from the minimum wage, such as very young workers or those who are in apprenticeships, like training organizations, like training schemes. They can pay a low wage because they are still trainees, right? Sometimes audit firms, they are working some people to get their qualification. They look like audit trainings, accounts trainings like that. So employers face a penalty if they pay wages that are lower than the national minimum wage. Also, workers will be entitled to have arrears of wages repaid at current rates. These are three main reasons why government set minimum wages. There are plenty of minimum wage questions are there in your past papers. So you can see the benefit of disadvantaged workers. To benefit from the disadvantaged workers, you can see sometimes organizations like the government want to set some minimum wage to benefit the disadvantaged workers. Normally, uh, it is argued that people such as women, ethnic minorities, and low-income families benefit from minimum wages. Yes, because if you say that this is a minimum wage you have to pay, then every organization has to pay that thing. That's the minimum. So then you can't pay less than the minimum wage, because then these parties, the like women, ethnic minorities, and low-income families does not get any unfair payment. For example, it's estimated that the UK introduces a mandatory national living wage, like very similar to minimum wage, where female workers will benefit more, right? So this is a 19.2 figure. This is the estimate again the male and female employees from the increase in the minimum wage. UK 2015, you can see the full-time workers, part-time workers. So this is a male and female. Light blue color shows the male, and this dark blue color shows the female. You can see in UK, you can see females are getting like a paid more than their gross, pay is actually greater than the male. It is UK, right? Therefore, you can see. So someone can argue then, okay, there is a gender discrimination for males. Okay, look at the difference. Sometimes it can be say like that. Always, why we are talking about the women? Why not men? Right? Sometimes men are get low salary than women. That can be happen, right? Sometimes both sides it can be happen. Like female workers will benefit more. And second reason why government can use some this thing actually minimum wage they introduced, because we reduce the poverty. Poverty means sometimes you don't have enough money to buy food, right? Your daily bread sometimes. So that's called poverty. So international poverty line means at least $1 per day their daily income. If someone's daily income is less than $1, that is called the person is in poverty line. That we don't have enough money to even buy bread. That's a poverty line minimum standard $1 per day. But in a lot of countries, there are so many people who are earning less than $1. So these cases, government must support those people. That's why some schemes are there. In many countries, minimum wages are part of the broad strategy and in poverty. In the USA, increasing number of poor families have to rely on their earnings from low-paying jobs. Therefore, the minimum wage increases will help to reduce poverty. The minimum wage raises the wages of low-income workers in general, not just those below the official poverty line. Many families move in and out of the poverty, and therefore, near poor families will also benefit from that. Near poor families also benefit out of that. And third reason why organizations want to introduce this to help the business organization. How they're helping businesses by minimum wage. The minimum wage should promote greater equality and fairness among workers. As a result, workers will be better motivated. This should reduce the staff turnover and absence and increase the productivity. Right? One of the advantage of minimum wage is that how the low-paid people receive more money. This means that government do not have to pay out as much in benefits to the poor. The extra money the low-paid workers receive come from the firms who have to pay their high wages. This reduces the cost of the taxpayer. This is a good example of a minimum wage. So there are three reasons why government should use minimum wage: to benefit the disadvantaged workers, to reduce the poverty, and to help businesses. Right. Okay, let's go to the effects of the minimum wage law on business. We'll talk about this thing further. If business employ very large numbers of people on wages that are below the minimum wage, like as I told you, the minimum wage in some countries depends, right? It depends. Like in countries like Sri Lanka, minimum wage is like 30,000 per month. So that means anyone in the country must not get a salary less than 30,000 per month. But there are so many workers in everywhere, especially estate workers and sometimes even housemaids, even some drivers are getting less than 30,000 per month. So that is not a minimum wage then, because 30,000 is not enough in current work. In current situation, you can see the prices, the inflation is very high and the cost of living is very high. The person needs more than 1,000 rupees daily for their survival, right? So that's the situation because of the cost of living, all the utility bills, right? Rent, telephone, water bill, everything, which is settled after that. And the transport costs also there, and food and water, everything you have to pay. So that means 30,000 is not near enough for the workers to survive. That's why even UK also, this is the UK and USA, $15 or sometimes 1,500 pounds per month. That is sometimes not enough wage. They have been they're talking about the government and everything to increase the minimum wage every year. Therefore, business employing people on minimum wage will have to match these increases. Some people argue that the introduction of minimum wage will result in job losses. In theory, if the price of the labor rises, the demand for it will fall. However, in 2016, 14 US cities saw significant increase in the minimum wage. Yet in July, 1 month after the increase, employment went up by 237,000 across the country. If a business is doing well, they are not likely to lay people off even when wages go up. If they are needed to meet rising customer demand as a result of that, you can see minimum wage is something is very important for organization to decide. The government deciding this thing is right now in favor of the always the people. And look at the it was also suggested that there are higher wages encourage business to replace labor with capital. So as a result, what happens? Sometimes business might thinking, okay, the wage rate is very high. We should now replace the labor with the machines. That's called the capital intensive method they are going to try out. As a result of that, what happens? Outsourcing their method using the production by countries. Their labor is cheaper. As a result, however, this may be not possible for many sorts of the businesses. For example, the fast food chains cannot outsource production because they are in the service industry, because they have to do it. Neither can they easily replace the customer service workers with the machine. So there may be some benefits in minimum wage business. There are benefits. There are good bad side as well as good sides also. Very rare there are good sides for business. You can see what are the good things for business. Minimum wage, sometimes a lot of business think is like a headache. Why? Because you have to pay at least this amount or more. You can't pay below this. So sometimes that's why they are diverting to Asian countries and developing countries, because minimum wage in the developed countries are very high. That's why otherwise why people are like US people go and start their business. For example, let's say Apple. Why they are like assembling their iPhones in China? Why? Because do you think that the USA the people cannot do it? No, they can do it, but the minimum wage is high. For the US salary, you can employ like a 10 employees from China, right? For the same salary. That's why, because the productivity will be very high, efficiency is very high. Therefore, people are like a lot of multinational firms. They are divesting and they are from their local country and they are going to developing nations because the cost of labor is very low. Because they don't have any minimum wage, and the minimum wage given by those countries are very low, right? Comparative to the other countries. For example, compared with the minimum wage rates in UK and Sri Lanka, minimum wage it's like you have to pay like $15 or 15 pounds per an hour, but here it's like we compared with that, it's like a 0.5, like a 50 cents of pounds per hour, like that. You can see like there are 3 times or more than that, like 10 times difference in salaries, right? And normally the people on low pay may be better motivated and productive when they receive the pay rise resulting from the introduction of minimum wage. Secondly, low wage earners across the nation will have more disposable income to demand. As a result of that, many goods and services will rise. The business will like for those things, because if the people income increases, they have more disposable income to demand many goods and services. And this will drive up the sales and profits of some businesses. And third one, businesses may experience lower rates of staff absence as a result. Better reliability because people are coming. So you can see long-term service you can expect with the organization if you give a considerable amount of living salary. So they will be stick to the organization for a long-time service. And this might be because the low-paid workers who often have to have more than one job to survive, yeah, will be more committed to single employee. That's why. So if you give a good salary for the worker, you can see few issues with the HR. Okay. Even though business is a large organization or a small business organization, these laws are really important. Must be able to avoid all this discrimination. However, some small firms might be exempt from certain detailing discrimination laws. For example, they're giving that employees just one single employee like cannot have a gender balance. Right? If only one employees need to be a female or his employee that therefore we don't apply here like a very few employees are there, one employee. For example, let's say a telephone operator sometimes giving an opportunity for a female, it actually not gender discrimination because only one employee you have, one office assistant or one cashier position, no problem, you can give it. Small businessman like the small business paper, sometimes you can apply this thing. So this discrimination is not that much important for having imbalance is not even, but working with the 100% of his employees, they are female. However, business about employ 500 people, all which were female, could be accused of having gender imbalance. Sometimes it can be happen. Some organizations, like most, like a 99% of their workers are female. Sometimes in health sector, a lot of nurses. Normally there are few male nurses, but a lot of female nurses are there. A few male nurses we can see in the health sector. Always the garment industries, the garment machine operators are the same, like Juki machine operators, like a 98% of the Juki machine operators are females, 2% only males. There's a tendency that a lot of like those fields are normally like a nursing and machine operating. All that is like a lot of there's tendency that a lot of females are engaging in those jobs. Okay, it's time for MCQ. Right, so you can actually ask these questions verbally, or you can send the answers to the chat line. Question number 1. Which of the following is a possible benefit of business from introducing a minimum wage? Possible benefit of minimum wage. Benefit A, business will be able to employ more women. Can't be. More women, why? Minimum wage, no, wrong. There will be a less administration were taken on employee. Less administration for minimum wage? No, it cannot be, it's not real. See, worker motivation might improve since workers will be better paid. That makes some sense because minimum wage will give some motivation for the worker. That's true. D, business taxes will be lower. No, that's wrong. So answer is question number 1. So I get a couple of answers in the chat line. Yes, answers are correct. Both of you give the correct answers. Okay, part 2. Very good. Yeah, another one answer right now. Yeah, very good. So part 2, according to the graph in figure 19.1, which of the following ethnic minorities suffers the highest levels in unemployment in the UK? So I'll take you to the 19.1, that figure, which I want to know which party most highly suffered in the world. Okay, this is a figure 19.1. Okay, you can see here this figure. Okay. According to the highest graph, you can see 13% from Bangladeshi. And 11% is there from Pakistani and mixed, and 3% goes to black African Caribbean people. But Bangladeshi people are mostly highly suffered in the UK. Like a lot of harassment and pain because sometimes they are country or sometimes they are. Okay, the correct answer here. Question number 2. So there is no Bangladeshi thing, right? Which are the following ethnic minorities suffer the highest levels of unemployment? I got 2 answers. The answer is correct. B. Very good, TJ. The answer is correct. B. Black African Caribbean is the answer. Question number 3. Which of the following is a motive for introduction of minimum wage? Motive for introduction of minimum wage, you can see there are 3 motives we talk about. Reduce poverty is one of them. Encouraging employment female workers, wrong. Minimum wage, you can't encourage female workers. minimum wage encourage employment more ethnic minorities, wrong. Encourage improve productivity workers, no, wrong. Answer is A. Reduce poverty, yes. One student gave the correct answer here. Uh, the reduce poverty is the correct answer. Two students attempted, one student gave the correct answer. Reduce poverty is the aim of the one objective of motive of the minimum wage. Okay, last MCQ question. In a job advert, a business states that the applicants must have at least 10 years of work experience. Right? 10 years work experience they are asking. This is example of discrimination of the grounds of which characteristics. It's very easy. 10 years of experience means it is not gender, it is not race, it is not the sexual preference, it is age. Age is the correct answer. All right. So like that, so guys, this lesson, there are so many questions, possible questions are there. Look at this last case study, the chapter review case studies there. They're asking a few questions, right? So this case study, they are talking about the discrimination in the workplace and discuss issue. Following, they're asking, for example, the following are true of the UK. Despite of the Equal Pay Act, like 18%, there's a pay gap between male and female still. And women are more likely to be employed in low-paid jobs. Like 80% of the people working in the low-paid, like a care and leisure sector, are women. Right? Less than 10% of the executive directors at the top FTSE 100 companies are female. Right? So, what is FTSE? The index that measures the share prices of the top 100 companies in the UK. The index, right? So that means top executives are like less than 10% only females. That means more than 90% top executives are directors are males, male dominant societies. Even another thing is parliament. Even UK parliament and even a lot of countries, even Sri Lankan parliament, you can see the parliament system also. The women's participation is very low. And another thing, 2013, they find out that estimated around 50,000 women lost their jobs as a result of their pregnancy. So discrimination. So this causes a gender imbalance listed above may be part of the entirely wrong discrimination or Indian. However, the other reasons may also explain the gender gaps, and they are giving those things as a result. So I'm asking what is meant by the term equal opportunities. What is meant by the term equal opportunities? So you can see equal opportunities are where everyone has the same chance. In business, you can see that everyone has the same chance of selection or promotion. People should get the same pay rates whether they are male or female, providing the same rates pay whether they are male or female, providing they are doing the same job, same pay. Right? So rest of the question, guys, I'll send it to you to the group, right? So our in groups, I'll send you this one. So rest of the question you can do it as homework questions, and you can share that answers in the WhatsApp. So we can discuss that question. So today's lesson, to wrap up the today's lesson, we talk about mainly two aspects. We talk about last part of the discrimination. We talk about mainly how people discrimination, sexual preference. We talk about do not discriminate people on the grounds of the LGBTI. Even there are Q also right now, no? LGBT, like a lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual, right? All that thing. Based on these terms, do not discriminate, and also based on age, do not discriminate. And these things we talk about today. And finally, talk about minimum wage legislation. Minimum wage legislation. What are the bad side of the minimum wage legislation? What are the objectives for minimum wage legislation? And also effects of minimum wage legislation, effects mean bad impacts and the good impacts of minimum wage legislation. Sometimes because of minimum wage, people, businessmen thinking of actually replacing the labor with the machine. But sometimes benefits for the business because people are motivated and they will stick to business like a long-term service. And more disposable income among people again come back to their business as a result of their demand for goods and services will increase. And staff absenteeism turnover will decrease as a result. This is the good side of the minimum wage. We talk about those things finally along with that. We talk about small businesses like less than like sole traders like less than 50 employees. Sometimes some laws actually not hardly applied. Okay, so that's it for the day. We'll wind up your session with that. See you next session. We're starting a new lesson next week, the training. Okay, with that we'll wind up today's session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Right?
Bye, sir.
Bye, sir.
Thank you.